In this video, we'll explore some of the most well-known NFL player feuds that have risen between certain players and fueled severe enmity and drama both on and off the field. George Kittle versus Dallas Cowboys players and Micah Parsons. When Jordan Mason scored a touchdown run in the fourth quarter, Kittle showed a t-shirt that read F Dallas to the nation's television viewers. Later, Kittle said he would definitely wear the shirt again and would be expected to pay a fine. In 1994, 49ers linebacker Gary Plummer donned a t-shirt similar to the one Kittle wore in the NFC title game versus Dallas, which San Francisco won before winning the Super Bowl. The t-shirt was a tribute to the rivalry between the teams during the 1990s. On his program, The Edge with Micah Parsons, All-Pro edge rusher Micah Parsons talked about Kittle wearing the jersey after the defeat. KD eventually posted it on social media, bringing it to the attention of people worldwide. But KD wasn't affected by all this backlash. Beyond the field, Dallas supporters expressed their displeasure and called for harsh penalties against KD, labeling him with mocking terms. In response to an inquiry concerning his attire selection, he responded nonchalantly that it was an honor to Kittle's legacy and denied any intention of creating more discord. The NFL has fined San Francisco 49ers tight end George Kittle over $13,000 for donning a vulgar t-shirt about the Dallas Cowboys. Tom Brady versus Ryan Fitzpatrick. Brady reflected on his 2020 free agency experience during a 2021 HBO episode The Shop Uninterrupted. Being a 7-time Super Bowl champion, his most recent victory coming in 2021, teams began to show interest in him. Brady shared his opinions when the topic finally turned to the clubs that were uninterested, saying, "You're sticking with this Are you serious?"
Sitting there thinking, you're sticking with that motherfucker? Are you serious?
Fitzpatrick believed he was being mentioned because the Miami Dolphins, his former team, contacted the Michigan alumnus. Until Brady joined them, the Harvard grad was expected to start at quarterback for the Dolphins. Tom Brady eventually signed with the Tampa Bay Bucks, where he went on to win a Super Bowl championship. The vice chairman of the Dolphins had spoken with Brady as early as August 2019. Brady was still bound to New England, therefore it went against the league's anti-tampering code. Fitzpatrick could still not overlook Tom Brady's purported remark against him a year later. That's why he appeared as a guest on Barstool Sports' Pardon My Take podcast in September 2022. Well, Fitzpatrick was a quarterback in the NFL for 9 seasons and did not get along with Brady. In the same 14 meetings, Fitzpatrick only triumphed over Brady 3 times. Terrell Suggs versus Tom Brady. The sole reason is that it's one of the rivalries from the 2010 season when the Patriots faced off against the Ravens. The rivalry started when Suggs tackled Brady to the ground just after he unleashed a long completion. He made a late hit flag motion. After Brady was hit by a Ravens player, he expressed his annoyance that no flags were raised. Brady and Suggs sparred on the field before exchanging jabs over the radio. Even after the Patriots won 23-20, Suggs wasn't prepared to call it quits. He ignited their feud by talking to the media and calling Brady's 3 Super Bowl victories questionable. In an October 2013 ESPN interview, Suggs was asked his thoughts on Brady. "I don't think that's appropriate for camera," Suggs said. "I don't like him, he don't like me, I don't like his hair."
I don't like his hair. I don't like his smug attitude.
The rivalry remained throughout their careers, with Suggs publicly attacking Brady. On the football field, though, Brady was frequently the winner. Brady prevailed in 5 of the 6 games between him and Suggs. Richard Sherman and Michael Crabtree. It's inevitable for wide receivers and defensive backs to collide. The rivalry between Sherman and Crabtree first came to light amid a Larry Fitzgerald-hosted charity softball game. Sherman reached out to shake hands with Crabtree, who allegedly refused, almost starting a fight. However, following the 2013 NFC Championship game, tensions escalated. In the game's closing seconds, Sherman made the game-winning interception to complete a comeback victory over the Niners. After Sherman helped clinch a trip to the Super Bowl by deflecting a pass intended for receiver Michael Crabtree in the end zone that fell into the hands of Seahawks linebacker Malcolm Smith. "Well, I'm the best corner in the game," Sherman yelled. "When you try with me, a sorry receiver like Crabtree, that's the result you're gonna get. Don't you ever talk about me."
"Well, I'm the best corner in the game. When you try me with a sorry receiver like Crabtree, that's the result you're gonna get."
Sherman has never held back when expressing his concerns, but Crabtree has kept quiet about the rivalry. Sherman interestingly disclosed that his animosity toward Crabtree dates back to their time together in college, when Jim Harbaugh, then the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, was their coach. Sherman's alleged dislike of Harbaugh and the 49ers came from the latter's choice to turn Sherman from wide receiver to cornerback when Sherman was still a Stanford student, and his hesitation to select Sherman in the NFL draft. Bill Romanowski versus Marcus Williams. When Williams reported to training camp in 2003, he was eager to build on his success after being assigned to block Romanowski during that particular session. However, things took a wrong turn when Williams' teammate thought he was being held during a play. In response, the player tore off Williams' helmet with one hand and punched him in the face with the other, knocking him out and breaking his left eye socket. Following that event, Williams was placed on injured reserve. Upon considering his legal options, he sued his attacker in a civil lawsuit, hoping to recover $3.8 million in damages. A jury finally found against Romanowski. However, Williams was only given a $340,000 award, $300,000 for the lost income and $40,000 for medical costs. Romanowski promised Williams an additional $75,000 to formally terminate the legal dispute while he considered appealing the conviction. Williams would never play in another NFL game due to serious injury. Cortland Finnegan and Andre Johnson. During a play in the fourth quarter, Titans cornerback Cortland Finnegan and Texans wide receiver Andre Johnson got into a helmet-tossing brawl. Finnegan smacked Johnson, after which Johnson tore the helmet from Finnegan's head. In response, Finnegan ripped Johnson's helmet off and threw it into the distance. Johnson got on top of Finnegan and delivered a few blows. Finnegan was clapping and laughing when Johnson was being taken out. Following their removal from the game, Johnson expressed regret for his behavior, to which Finnegan offered no response. Josh Allen versus Christian Wilkins. The Buffalo Bills' Josh Allen became involved in a challenging match with Christian Wilkins during their game against the Miami Dolphins, which turned into a full-fledged incident. The fight started with just over 6 minutes left in the second quarter. With the Bills leading 17-3, Allen hit Xavier Howard with a long interception. After Howard returned, players from both teams got into a brawl a few yards from where he was tackled. Replays show that Allen and Wilkins got into a pushing fight after the interception, which is when the brawl began. Wilkins hurried forward to give Allen a one-handed shove when Howard returned. Wilkins then pivoted to prevent Allen from tackling in the return game. Not appreciating the push, Allen gave Wilkins a full two-handed shove. Wilkins spun around and the two started pushing each other. Eventually, other players got involved, and Wilkins and a couple other Bills players went down. Allen left in an attempt to avoid getting in trouble. In an interview, Allen said that Christian grabbed his groin. That's why he responded that way. Josh Allen's argument is nearly indisputable, considering Christian Wilkins, an Ohio State receiver, was accused of performing a similar behavior while playing for Clemson by putting his hands between Samuel's legs. In response, Christian disputed the charge and filed an appeal for the unpaid fine. Michael Irvin versus Everett McIver. Things in Dallas got somewhat out of hand during training camp in 1998. While having his hair cut, McIver was unaware that he had taken Irvin's place. Irvin was furious to see McIver seated where he was supposed to be when he came in to get his hair cut. Irvin started yelling, "Seniority, punk, get the F out of my chair!" But McIver was not going to back down, which enraged Irvin more. There was a full-fledged fight between the two, after which Irvin eventually reached for a pair of scissors and stabbed McIver in the neck. Because the blade was not straight, McIver was extremely fortunate not to have bled out, and Irvin narrowly missed McIver's vital carotid artery. The rest of the Dallas Cowboys found the scene to be nearly terrifying. Yes, there are arguments amongst colleagues, but not to this extent. Steve Smith and Ken Lucas. Steve Smith's aggressive and fiery nature may occasionally get in the way of teammates, particularly during training camp's summer heat. For 3 years, Ken Lucas and Steve Smith, in particular, were teammates. They would often yell at each other and get agitated during plays, but this story is even more unusual because they never actually came to blows on the field. Lucas and Smith were at the bottom of the pile when everything went wrong, not after a play. Even though teammates frequently shoved one another during training camps, this altercation happened on the sidelines during a water break when both players had removed their helmets. It was unclear what started the altercation, although the two had habitually glared at one another throughout practice. Smith hit Ken Lucas in the eye during the fight. Everyone, including the head coach, broke the two apart. Lucas was taken to the locker room and covered his eye with an ice pack. Both players were sent home due to the incident. Lucas also reportedly broke his nose, but the matter was resolved internally. Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger. Big Ben and Antonio Brown appeared to have an unmatched bond during the 2010s. Brown had one of the best receiving careers in NFL history due to Ben Roethlisberger's accurate passes to him. When Roethlisberger failed to complete a pass to a wide-open Brown in 2017, the receiver became enraged and threw water coolers on the sideline, exposing the first fissures in their public persona. Known for never holding back when voicing his complaints, Roethlisberger expressed his disappointment over the radio, calling Brown's actions an unnecessary distraction. The rivalry between the two players grew even more intense when Brown made a mistake that led to an interception later that season, costing the team a vital game against the Broncos. Once more, Roethlisberger scolded Brown in public, blaming the mishap on Brown's poor route execution. The rivalry peaked in the last week of the 2018 season when Roethlisberger became enraged with Brown for taking an incorrect route during a practice walkthrough, leading to a heated argument. Brown's reaction was extreme. He threw a football at Roethlisberger and walked out of practice. The Steelers tried to minimize Brown's absence, claiming he had a knee injury. Despite the rivalry, Brown did send Roethlisberger a congratulatory message on Instagram after he retired this past season, raising the chance that the two former allies will reconcile. There are a few cases of the deep-seated rivalry that can arise amongst NFL players, highlighting the sport's competitive drive and the interpersonal dynamics that influence player relationships inside and outside the field.